Welcome, friends, to Gospel Health and Healing Network. It's a privilege again to be here with you today. I encourage you to like, subscribe, and to share our channel so that others can also benefit. Today, I want us to look at a text from Psalm 37, Psalm 37 and verse 34. The Word of God says, "Wait on the Lord and keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land." Wait on the Lord. You know, one of the hardest things for human beings to do is to wait. For some reason, when we have to wait, we find things to pass the time. We want to be active. We want to do something. We want to go out and be involved in things instead of sitting and waiting. Now, when you look at the Bible stories, you can see many individuals who had to wait on the Lord. Not necessarily sitting while waiting, but they lived their lives while they were waiting, but they became impatient. Some tried to work out the problem their own way instead of waiting on the Lord. You remember King Saul? King Saul was commanded by the prophet to wait until he comes and he will perform the sacrifice. He would make the offering unto the Lord before they go into battle. 7 days passed, and Samuel the prophet was now late. He delayed longer than anticipated. And Saul, seeing the army of the Philistine gathering themselves together, became afraid. He said to himself, if this sacrifice is not given, if this offering unto the Lord is not made, the Philistine would come up and they would devour Israel. He became impatient. And so, against wise counsel, he took it upon himself to give or to make the sacrifice. But if you would look at the story, as soon as he was done, Samuel came. And Samuel's first question was, "What have you done?" You know, that's a question that we do not really like to hear. Because when that question comes, we can tell there is something else behind it. What have you done? And so Samuel had to rebuke King Saul and inform him that he had done foolishly. Waiting is something that we need to inculcate within our lives, especially when it comes to waiting on God. Remember Father Abraham? God promised him a son that would inherit all, a son through whom all the world will be blessed. Abraham waited on God. His wife Sarah reasoned within herself that the thing God has promised is yea nigh impossible. She was too old to bear fruit. And so she came up with a solution. It may be possible that God would bear Abraham this fruit, this child, through someone else. And so she gave Abraham to her handmaid. And Abraham, following the word of his wife, went in unto his wife's handmaid Hagar, and so a child was born. They rejoiced that perhaps this is the promised seed. But God had to inform Abraham that this child, although blessed by him, was not the one of promise, was not his God's choice. And so Abraham had to continue waiting. Although he had this son, he had to continue waiting for the promise of God. My friends, today, God will always put us in situations where we would have to wait. It's an inevitable thing. We will learn to wait. And I often say that the sooner we learn the lesson, the better. God will call us at times to wait on him. Abraham had to wait 25 long years to receive the promise. Samuel or Saul, King Saul, had to wait over a week for the prophet to show up. Whatever it may be, waiting is a natural part of life. And understanding that and accepting it would help us save ourselves some trouble. If we acknowledge that we have to wait, then it is wise to get involved in what is right and true and godly as we wait. Waiting on God is rewarding. Although humanly speaking, or looking at it from a human perspective, it may seem sometimes as though we are going through unnecessary trials, unnecessary pains. But God is wise and faithful. And so when he calls us to wait, he does not just be malicious. He does not be judgmental. He is developing traits of characteristics in our life that will help us to be more like him. I encourage you today, by the grace of God that has been extended to you, to develop the ability of waiting on God. The word says, wait on God, and he will establish you. Listen to what it says. Text says, wait on the Lord, and keep it. Never forsake. Remember that God is working in your life. As you wait in his will, walk establish is that you would not be faint-hearted. You would not become one that you would give up. Stand